mistakes I made during that trip and mistakes I made after. So I really hope you enjoyed this content. I think we should start. Hi everyone, welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, karibu sana. On this channel we talk everything lifestyle, travel and fashion. And today we are going to talk about an exciting topic. I'm going to share with you mistakes I made when I was traveling to Cape Town. So I'll tell you some of the things I did wrong before the travel, during and also after. And I'll just start off by giving a short story. So I've traveled outside the country a number of times, but these travels were work related. But for the Cape Town trip, it was a personal trip. So I had to make sure that everything is in order. And because I didn't want to stress myself about itinerary, activities and all that, I reached out to Solive Travel, who were planning for a trip to Cape Town in October last year, and I booked through them. And this was exciting because I knew I'm not going to have to do so much research, because that was already covered by the Solive Travel team, which was really nice. So before the travel, some of the mistakes I made were I took a day off before the day of travel. I wish I took more days, more leave days before the travel, because I only had one day to make sure that everything is well set. So I needed to get my hair done, I needed to pack, I needed to get some items from the supermarket. And I remember that day I woke up very early in the morning just to get to the salon and get my hair done in good time. But in this Nairobi, you can never be sure about traffic and all that. So by the time I was finishing my errands, it was around 9 p.m. And when I got back home, I was so tired. Macu, I had not packed. Yeah, it was just chaotic. So I remember that night I just threw things in my suitcase, but I made sure I had enough outfits. But this meant that I overpacked. So if you're planning to travel and the trip is like, for example, out of the country, and you're going for a long period of time, because for me my trip was for 6 days. If you're going for a long period of time, just take at least 2 days, or start 2 days off, or start doing your planning and packing early. The other mistake I made was not testing my multi-currency card in Kenya before traveling with it. So, as I mentioned, initially I used to travel outside the country for work-related purposes. And so, for work-related kind of trips, usually you are given hard cash, which you just walk around with. But for this trip, I didn't want to carry cash because I knew we were going to have so many activities, and so carrying money with me everywhere wasn't going to be the best option. So I went to my bank, spoke to them about my trip. I informed them that I'll be traveling, and so they recommended getting a multi-currency card. Now, for the multi-currency card, usually what happens, you tell them how much money you want to top up on it, and then you can just use it. For example, if you go to a shop, or you want to pay for certain bills, so long as the place you go has a POS system, you can always pay your bills. So I remember when I arrived in Cape Town, I tried to use my card, but it wasn't working. I tried to call the bank for help. I didn't get the help that I needed, but thank God I had some money in my M-Pesa and also on my my money market fund. And so I spoke to someone who was willing to help me with that situation. Imagine if I didn't have money in my M-Pesa or my money market fund, what would have happened to me? And just to give you a little bit of background, so with Solive Travel, for most trips also outside the country, they do provide meals like breakfast and lunch, but then for dinner you have to cater for your own dinner. So if you do not have money, then it just means you might suffer a lot. But for this trip, I met people who are really nice. Whitney from Solive Travel was able to help me on the first day. She gave me some money, so I was able to navigate that as I find a better solution. And also, the person who I was sharing a room with was gracious enough to accept to do withdrawals for me. So I would send money to her bank account from my M-Pesa, and then she would withdraw for me the money using her card because her card was working. So again, if you're traveling outside the country and if you're alone, just make sure that you have cash at hand. You also have cash topped up in your M-Pesa, and you also have cash in your cards. And also just have cards from different banks, because you never know which one will work, which one will not work. And make sure your card is a Visa or MasterCard. That way, at least you have surety that you'll be able to navigate any financial inconveniences. The third mistake that I made, now because I had that financial situation, I needed to get money from people. So from the person I was sharing the room with, and also from Whitney. And I remember it got to a point now tracking the expenses was hectic because we were doing shopping, we were paying for some activities that were not in the itinerary, we were paying for food. And so tracking became a little bit hectic because every day you'd get back to the hotel in the evening when you're so tired. And I wish I did better in terms of tracking, but yeah, we live, we learn. So when the trip came to an end, I remember my roommate and I tried to figure out the expenses that we had incurred, because most of the time we would go, for example, to a restaurant and I would just tell her, okay, pay for me. So there was a mix between her monies and my monies, but we also had receipts for some of the things that we bought. So we just came to an agreement. We tried our best to get to a point where I didn't feel like my money was used in a certain way that I wasn't happy about. And we also got to a point where my roommate was comfortable with the transactions that were happening. So both of us got to an agreement where we were like, okay, we feel like this is fair for both of us. But again, if you need, if you're going for group trips, I would advise that you download apps like Splitwise. If you're sharing any cost with anyone, just make sure that you are recording them immediately after you've bought something or after you've spent money on someone. That way you are able to track your money throughout the trip. So don't be like me. And then during the trip, so with Cape Town, the weather is unpredictable sometimes. And if you're going for group trips, then you have to be very flexible because activities will be shifted. Like I remember we were supposed to go to Table Mountains on a Tuesday, but we were not able to go because the weather wasn't so good. So on that day, the Table Mountains services were not functional. So we had to change to another day. And I remember when we went to Table Mountains, I had worn sandals because again, I really love wearing sandals, and I felt like my outfit needed sandals on that day. And we had also been told that because the weather on that day was good, we were going to do Table Mountains and then we would do paragliding, but it wasn't an assured bet. So we were just juggling and seeing what would work. So I remember we went to Table Mountains. It was so beautiful. I'll put a clip of of the experience here. And then after that, we were told we were going to paraglide. I remember on that day I had so much tension. I have a fear of heights, but I'm conquering it. So when we got to the paragliding place at Signal Hill, we were asked to sign a certain document to just show that the liability is yours and you are doing the paragliding at your own will. And then the paragliding people saw my shoes. Remember, I had open shoes, and they were like, these are not the right shoes for you to wear. And I was like, okay, right now I can't go back to the hotel. Yeah, I just need to get this thing done. So for you to paraglide, they advise that you wear closed shoes. So eventually somebody helped me with their shoes. I'll put a picture of that here.
Julie, how's it going?
It's going great. Oh, it's going great. And I was able to paraglide. So again, if you're traveling and you're having these numerous activities, just make sure that you are packing correctly and you have the proper attire for the activities that you're going to do. I remember sometimes I saw some people who we traveled with like clothes which are not heavy. And that time when we traveled in October, it was a bit cold, and so many people got a cold because they were exposing their bodies to cold temperatures. So again, before you travel, just check the temperatures, check the weather on Google. Yeah, just make sure that you have the proper outfits. If you're going to a conservative area and you're a woman, just make sure that you're carrying clothes that are covering your body fully. And yeah, just check those details before you pack and travel. The other mistake I made, that was before travel, was paying for a flight from Cape Town to Tanzania and then Tanzania to Nairobi. So I'll just give a bit of story here. So before that Cape Town trip, I saw a video on TikTok where someone was talking about cost-effective ways of traveling to Cape Town. And this person advised that you use a bus from Nairobi to Dar es Salaam and then take your flight from Dar es Salaam to Cape Town, which was really nice. I did that and it was nice, though for the bus, in as much as they are comfortable, you spend like 12 hours, 8 to 12 hours in the bus. So it's a long journey. So for me, I traveled from Nairobi to Dar es Salaam, spent one day in Dar es Salaam, and then the next day I was able to travel to Cape Town, which was nice. That experience was good. It was cost effective. I think I saved like 20,000 shillings, which was nice. But then on the trip back to Nairobi, like coming back from Cape Town, I again picked a flight that goes to Dar es Salaam and then Dar es Salaam to Nairobi. So it meant that I arrive in Dar es Salaam, spend like 12 hours in Dar es Salaam and then come back to Nairobi. And we had so many activities in Cape Town and I was so tired. And I wish I just took a direct flight from Cape Town to Nairobi, because I felt like it was so hectic to go back to Dar es Salaam, spend there 12 hours and then fly to Nairobi. Yes, I saved some coins, but I don't know if it was worth it. I was so tired. So again, if you're looking at cost-effective ways of traveling to Cape Town, you can consider using a bus to Dar es Salaam and then take a flight from Dar es Salaam to Cape Town. And then when you're coming back to Nairobi, just take a direct flight from Cape Town to Nairobi. Now let's go back to the overpacking situation. So when we got to Cape Town, we were able to have a free afternoon where we were able to go to the shopping malls and just buy different things. And because I overpacked, when I arrived in Cape Town, I think somebody mishandled my suitcase, and so it broke. And here I am, I'm in Cape Town, I've gone to the shopping mall, I'm buying more clothes. I think I have a problem with buying clothes. I shopped a lot for basics. And so when I was trying to pack my bag now in preparation to come back to Nairobi, my suitcase couldn't contain everything that I had bought. So this meant that I get another suitcase. So it was hectic to just move around with so many things. So if you know you love shopping, just make sure that you are carrying like an empty suitcase. If you do not have a budget to buy a new suitcase, just make sure you're carrying an empty suitcase, or you are not overpacking, so that your suitcase has enough space for the things that you will buy. Yeah, so these are some of the things that I learned. I also realized that when I was in Cape Town, I bought some of the things that I can get in Kenya, which doesn't make sense at all. So again, I know most people are usually like, oh, buying from other countries is better than buying in your own country. But I would advise that if you go to a country where there are similar shops like the ones that are in your country, it doesn't make sense to buy from them, not unless they are selling things at a cheaper price. But yeah, just make it a habit to go to malls and check what is being sold, what the price difference is, and then buy from your country, because it doesn't make sense to buy something that you can access from another country at the same price. Yeah. So those are the mistakes that I made when I was traveling to Cape Town. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video and you've learned something out of it. Feel free to share it with anyone who you think would love it. And see you on the next one. Bye.